For as long as I can remember, music has been a large part of my life. I have been practicing and performing since I was around 8 years old. Over the course of my life, I have played many different instruments, including the viola, the cello, the trombone, and the piano. When I was younger, my mom gifted me with a CD collection of Beethoven and Mozart CDs. I remember sitting outside in the yard and listening to them until my batteries in my CD player died. This inspired me to be able to one day make music of that caliber as well. My approach to practicing at that time was just simple. It was just to make a pretty sound at that moment. Throughout middle school, I started to take practicing a little more serious. I joined orchestra, band, choir, marching band, just to name a few. The more opportunities I had, the better. Overall, I just enjoyed the music I made with friends. It was for the sheer enjoyment of playing. In high school, I was introduced to the piano and everything changed. I started to take the instrument very seriously, and I would practice every single day. I enjoyed performing in student recitals. My main influence at the time was simple themes from video games I enjoyed playing, such as Legend of Zelda and Kingdom Hearts. At that point in my life is also where I started to blame the piano for my lack of metabolism, because I skipped lunch every day to practice. In 11th grade, I was awarded the YCOP scholarship to attend YCP. The only time to practice piano was at the high school through the piano lab courses I was taking, but now I finally had the chance to take a college-level piano lesson. I started with Dr. Osowski and my focus started to shift. I started to look at the technique behind the pieces I performed, and I also started even listening to classical music a little bit more. In college, the first question they ask you is, what is music? The answer is that it is just organized sound. At that time, I started to dive deeper into the structure of music theory, and the understanding of different forms and compositions. I even started to take independent studies in 20th century Russian compositions. At times, I practiced the piano till 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, just diving into the chords, tones, and structures. Sometimes art students or even campus safety would stop in and listen to me play. I enjoyed that my music touched so many individuals, and seemingly made them as happy as it made me. So I devoted to performing pieces that would invoke emotion in the listener. Over time, I started playing more gigs in the community and creating more memories. From weddings to receptions and happy hours, I started to make a small career for myself. And then it hit me like a train. I was getting ready to graduate from YCP and join the outside world. Personally, I was a little scared to make a career in music because it's very difficult and I thought I needed more time. So I started to intern at several businesses, including the Cultural Alliance and Creative York. I pursued a minor in arts administration, and I started to also feel like this could be a path for me. Not only to create music, but to support others in making music. In 2018, I applied for a position with the York Youth Symphony Orchestra. In this position, I would have the chance to inspire and continue the passion for others to make music. I wanted to support and push this forward since music education was already dwindling in many schools at the time. Even for my own journey, I wouldn't be half the musician I am today without music in school. I looked for more ways to help out our students. Seeing them have the chance to perform and grow as a musician helped and inspired me as a musician. So I started to explore the route of grants and fundraising, and over time I researched more and more and landed on the York County Community Foundation. And in 2019 I was hired by YCCF as the Grants Program Associate. In this position I helped streamline our grant making through our online system, but I also supported the department by evaluating grant requests from several funds. Ultimately, I was very happy to support the community through this new outlet. At the same time, I still continue to perform on the side and work outside and perform for weddings. For those who don't know what a community foundation is, they are publicly supported foundations operated by and for the benefit of a specific community or geographic region. When the pandemic hit, we shifted and started to supply grants to nonprofits for food and housing insecurity, and over time, performing became more of a hobby. It was increasingly even more difficult to perform and play when I had no one to share my music with during the pandemic. During that time, I spent more time working closely with all of our grant-making programs, and it helped launch the new community grant program in 2020 alongside an amazing team of individuals. I worked alongside evaluating grants for Memorial Health Fund, Fund for York County, and even soliciting grant requests for Field of Interest funds. I started to see one thing though, and that was that grant-making was highly structured just like music. The structure is needed to inform others of the program, the same as how music is just organized sound. So let's compare grants to a sonata. So yes, there is music now, I'm sorry. But I started to compare this structure to this. Here is an exposition of a piece of music. The exposition introduces the main theme that would be heard throughout the piece. The exposition of the grant application to me is just the introduction to the organization and how it does its work. We should know how the organization's work is connected throughout the application. The development section in a sonata takes the main theme and expands upon it. The development also leads to the climax of the piece of music to invoke a sense of emotion. Just like how an application would take a program and provide key activities and details about their projected outcomes. The recapitulation marks the end and re-solidifies the key and the theme. The recap brings the listener just to the end and reassures them that everything is okay throughout the piece of music. It brings closure and it brings confidence in the performer. The same as how an application should wrap up everything with the organization and the project in one statement of need. At the end, you should have a completed sonata or a grant request. Music and grant making both have an ultimate benefit, and that is to assist the reader or the listener to the end of the piece and to assure the confidence in the writer or the performer. Grant making is still a large portion of my life, but I feel like without the theory and the structural analysis of music, I would fall just a little bit flat. My goal is to still share music to positively impact others, the same as how grant making is used to build a greater community. Thank you.